Howdy and welcome to the Mighty Mo Chuck channel. I's a Chuck. Hope our hurricane don't cause us problems here in the south of Wakanda. Oh no! Oh man. You know, in many respects, I've had a blessed life. I'm an absolute total failure, but I've had a blessed life. It's kind of a contradiction. I had good parents that helped, and they took care of me, and they loved me, and so that helped, you know. So, you know, I've had a blessed life, and it's good to always remember that, you know. Even with the tragedy that happened with my horse Missy, you know, after we had to put her down, you know, euthanize her. My equipment's not working where I could easily bury her, and I asked a neighbor to help, and without even thinking about it, he helped us. You know, that's a blessing. That's being blessed. It was tragic what happened to my Missy, but you know, it's So you know, I've had a good life, and it's good to remember that. At the same time, what I want to talk about is what I call a force that's I call it gremlins because I don't know what else to call it, but it's like, you know, you're walking along and you think you're paying attention, and then suddenly you trip over something and you fall. Well, that kind of strangeness that you just assume, well, it was something there and you tripped, and you know, but it's still I didn't see it. You know, where the hell did that come from? You know, I say gremlins. Out here on the ranch with the goats, sometimes you can almost see something just spark in their eyes, and they do weird, and I call that gremlins. Sometimes with equipment, when the equipment does odd, you know, I call it gremlins. I'm not going to go into details what I'm talking about, but sometimes the equipment does just really freakish odd. What I want to talk about is sometimes I have psychic experiences. That doesn't mean I'm psychic. It means I'm sensitive, and that makes me prone to have psychic experiences. And one example is when I was small, I was walking along with my younger sister, and I told her, "No, don't walk through there. The grass was kind of tall. I said, don't walk through there. You'll cut your foot." There's no way I could know there was anything in the grass. It's just, it was a thought that popped in my head, you know, and I told her, don't walk through there. You're going to cut your foot. And she looked at, you know, she knew I couldn't see anything in the grass. She didn't know why I would say that. She thought I was just, you know, she was like, why don't you want me to walk through there? What's going on? Is some kind of joke or something? And you know, you tell somebody not to do something, that I'm gonna do it. And so she walked through the grass and she cut her foot. Me knowing that she was going to cut her foot didn't stop her from cutting her foot. Another example of what I'm talking about, it happened the last part of 2015 and then 2016. I was on the porch with my father, and he was standing on the steps that we had at the time there, and I wasn't really paying close attention to him, but it popped in my head, he's about to fall. So I quickly turned around, I looked at him, I saw he was stumbling about. You know, he was on the step like he could fall back, and I quickly ran and I got him, and I stopped him from falling. And I mean, it would have been a bad fall if he had fell down the steps. So you know, I thought I had averted something awful. Well, a little bit later, he was in his bedroom, and there's thick carpet on the floor of the bedroom. He was standing where there's a dresser. His bed was right in front of him. I mean, there's no way he should have fallen and hurt himself. No way it should have happened. But when gremlins are involved, he fell. And he broke his hip. It was the same. It was basically the same as if he had. Well, if he fell down the steps, it could have been worse. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. But still, the fall in the bedroom that happened just shortly after that, it was kind of like, it was like the forces, the powers that be, saying, "Yeah, you're not going to stop what we had planned," and so. We still ended up with him having to be operated on, to fix his hip, and then he had to go through rehab and all that. So, again, that premonition of what was going to happen, it averted the event in some way, but then we still had to go through what the outcome of the event would have been because he still fell later. Another example of this is a little different. This is where my Thunderbolt, my stallion, got hurt, and it was a bad situation. There's a little premonition involved in where I was able to get to him quick enough to kind of alter the situation a little bit, but he still got hurt. He got seriously hurt. And I called the vet out, and, I was working with him and putting the salve on his wound, and it was a deep wound, so it had to heal out. And it got granulated, so the granulation had to be cut off. But right now, he's not totally out of the woods yet, so I really hate talking about this because, I'm the kind of person that feels like I could jinx stuff just by talking about it. But he's a lot better, and the wound is, real small. So the vet had given him a clear. And so the following Thursday, after the vet had given him a clear, I wasn't going to have to call the vet to come back out and check on him. So I go out to feed my horses, and my horse Missy, she doesn't come up. And I go back and I find her, and she's down, and I do my hand motions to get her to come up, and she does her best to try to get back on her feet. Every time I did the hand motion, she couldn't do it. And the first vet, the lady vet that came out, thought she was a little bit colicky, so did that, and then the second vet said she was paralyzed, and so anyway, we ended up having to put her down, have her euthanized, which, broke my heart. I cried so hard, I couldn't even breathe. I was that upset. And, but something earlier had happened, and, earlier before this, a good bit earlier, this was kind of after Thunderbolt had got hurt, shortly after he got hurt, I was out in the pasture with my horses, and I noticed Missy was scratching her butt on a fence post. Not the same fence post Thunderbolt was hurt on. That isn't an area where the horses can get to it. He shouldn't have been able to get to it. But a different fence post, and she was just, rubbing her backside against the fence post, scratching herself. And it just popped in my head. It was kind of like the what I call gremlins, saying, na 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 na. You think you've won. And so I was watching Missy closely because I had, because of, it was partly because of that. It may be some other things, but I was watching her close, and I didn't see anything wrong. The day or two before it happened, her girth had been increasing, and that's the reason, the first vet thought she might be a little bit colicky. So anyway, I think what had happened, because her girth had been increasing, is I think she was pregnant, and the pregnancy just went really bad, went wrong, and caused her to have a stroke. I think that's what happened. That's what's popped in my head to what happened. I don't know whether that is what happened or not, but that's what I kind of kind of think. I think she's pregnant, and the pregnancy just went really bad. But you know, it's the point is it was like the powers that be. Even though I was able, so far, knock on wood, you know, help Thunderbolt. It was like the gremlins, the forces, the powers that be were saying, but you're still going to lose a horse. And they still put me through that awful situation. Now, understand, I've been blessed. I understand that. We went a long period of time without any problems with our horses. They've done good through the years. Just having the horses is a blessing. So, I don't want to say, I grieve over the loss of Missy. I go out there to feed my horses, and she was one of the ones that would always come up to greet me first, So, when I go out to feed them, just missing her, that still hurts. But the point is, it was like there's this power it be that when you think that you can avert something else happens, and it's upsetting. It's bad, but like I said, I'm not trying to say, "Oh, poor pitiful me." I've had a blessed life. I realize that. I'm a total failure, which that upsets me because I wish I could have some success, at something. So that upsets me, me being a failure on top of other stuff. But I know I've been blessed. I know I have.